You guys did a good job. Nice. Yeah.
Me.
Agenda.
Okay, the next item on the agenda will be Selectmen's request and Town Manager's report. Let us start with the Manager's report. Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Manager's report for July 24th, 2012. We have a few meeting minutes that need approval. Request the board vote to approve open session meeting minutes of March 27th, 2012. The executive session minutes were already approved. Selectman Vos was absent. Pleasure of the board.
Entertain a motion?
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? There being none, call for the vote.
Yes.
Abstain.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, let the record show 4 in the affirmative, 1 abstention, motion carries.
In addition, request the board vote to approve the executive session meeting minutes of April 3rd, 2012. That's the executive session meeting minutes. The open session was already approved. Selectman Vos was absent for that executive session. Pleasure of the board.
Entertain a motion?
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? There being none, call for the vote.
Yes.
Abstain.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, let the record show 4 in the affirmative, 1 abstention, motion carries.
Request the board vote to approve the amended meeting minutes of May 2nd, 2012. That was the meeting before town meeting. At a previous meeting, Selectman Casey asked that the changes be incorporated into the minutes. I believe they have been incorporated into the minutes, and all were present for that. Pleasure of the board.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? Being none, call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, let the record show 5 in the affirmative, motion carries.
Request the board vote to approve meeting minutes of June 5th, 2012. Selectman Lamountain was absent. Pleasure of the board.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? Being none, call for the vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Abstain.
Yes.
Yes, let the record show 4 in the affirmative, 1 abstention, motion carries.
And finally, for minutes, request the board vote to approve meeting minutes of June 19th, 2012. Selectman Casey was absent. Pleasure of the board.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? Being none, call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Abstain.
Yes. Let the record show 4 in the affirmative, 1 abstention, motion carries.
This one, oh, here it is attached. Thank you, Karen. We have some appointments. Request the board vote to reappoint all present election workers along with 4 new election workers. The new election workers are Peter A. Stefan Jr. of Harvard Street, Elizabeth M. Zingarelli of McIntyre Road, Joan E. Goodell of New Street, and Rose M. Wing of Huguenot Road. I have the list attached. I believe it's in the selectmen's packet, in the to-be-signed packet. Pleasure of the board.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Being none, I'll call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, let the record show 5 in the affirmative, motion carries.
Very good. We have a request for a special one-day pouring license. Board has received a request for a special one-day pouring license for all alcoholic beverages from Singletary Rod and Gun Club of 300 Sutton Avenue. The date requested is Sunday, August 26, 2012, from 12 noon to 5 p.m., with beverages being consumed from paper or plastic cups on the premises outside of the clubhouse. Pleasure of the board.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Ms. Casey?
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to disclose I'm a member of Singletary Rod and Gun Club. However, that will in no way impact my ability to be fair and impartial with respect to this agenda item, and I would also tell the board that this is their annual picnic.
So noted. Call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, I'll make it unanimous. 5 in the affirmative, motion carries.
The special permit for animals that you acted on June 19th has been The certificate of action has been sent to the town clerk. The 20-day appeal period has ended, so we now request the board vote to sign the special permit for animals. This is for Monica and Marion Royston of 15 Huguenot Road. They're going to keep up to 18 rabbits and up to 10 hens at their property as stated in the permit. The site's been visited and inspected by the animal control officer and the assistant animal control officer, and they find the premises to comply with their request. Pleasure of the board.
I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded, discussion? Being none, call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes,
And I
5 in the
belie-
affirmative, motion carries.
And I believe that's in the to-be-signed folder as well. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Carbuncle sign request. The board has received a request from Mr. Glenn Kravosky to inquire from Mass DOT to have a sign for Carbuncle Pond. I suspect that would be near the pond on on Main Street, which is Route 12, the State Highway. He feels the sign would highlight the pond and residents of Oxford would appreciate it. Pleasure of the board.
So moved.
Second?
Been moved and seconded, any discussion? Mr. Lamountain?
Joe, don't we have a sign out front that the town paid for that says Carbuncle Pond ahead of the driveway or something?
We did for the longest time. I don't know if it's still there. I wonder if, is it still there?
I
By the
thought there
high
was,
school driveway, yeah.
which is the entrance to the pond, and the pond is right there once you get beyond Dick Nealon's house. I mean, we talk all the time about signs. I would like to see some reduction in signs.
Correct.
Now, when he came to us wanting to rename Trip Hammer Brook to Wellington Brook, that was replacing a sign with a sign. So net gain or loss zero. This is like adding more signs. I mean, I just think we have enough signs. I think we have Carbuncle identified. And to put a sign on Route 12, be it free or not, is just, I think it's just a waste of time. My opinion, and my vote will reflect such.
Casey?
I concur with the signage issue. You know, this came up about a month or two ago. Somebody requested a sign. I said, hey, wait a minute, why don't we look at our sign bylaws? We're waiting for a recommendation from the DPW director with respect to our sign bylaw. I think we should wait and see what it says. There's no rush. Carbuncle Pond's been there for a long, long time. And most people do know it's there. I know it's well-intentioned, so I'm not, I'm not making light of the request. It's just that we've got a request out there for professional opinion on how do we get control of signs, and there's no need to really act on this until we get it.
Very good.
Sounds good.
I concur. I mean, we have discussed this in the past, and we wanted to pay special attention to the amount of signage that we have up across the town. So with that being said, I would agree with the board. So I would entertain a motion not to request a sign be put up in light of the fact that there already is one up.
So moved.
Second?
Here we have a motion that's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Being none, call for the vote.
Yes.
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 I'll make it unanimous. Motion carries.
Thank you. We have a state primary warrant. Request the board vote to sign the state primary warrant submitted by Town Clerk Lori Kelly. It is in the to-be-signed folder. Pleasure of the board.
Entertain a motion?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? Being none, call for the vote.
Yes.
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 I'll make it unanimous. 5 in the affirmative. Motion carries.
We have a request for the Fall Festival. Board has received a request from Mr. Albert Dubois, or Dubois, depending on how he wants to say it, who's the chairman of the Oxford Lions Club, to host a fall festival event at the bandstand on Saturday, September 22nd, 2012. Rain or shine, it will be held. This event will be held from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and is open to the general public. Coordination with the various departments will be made once approval is secured from the board. Pleasure of the board.
I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
A second.
Motion that was made and seconded. Any discussion? There being none, I'll call for the vote.
Abstain.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, let the record show 4 in the affirmative, 1 abstention. Motion carries.
No, Lion. They should probably coordinate with the 300th as well.
It's a coordination with various departments.
Yeah, but the 300th committee, because I don't know if that's one of their...
No, that's totally independent. They were doing that long.
All right, they're not,
before
okay,
you were
just
around.
an idea. Administrative changes to license. The board has received a request from the compliance manager, that's Ms. Karen Dilly,
It's the tank.
concerning the property located at 109 Main Street, which is BP gas station, to make administrative changes to the flammable storage license that reflects the correct owner and owner's address. 109 was just here. The correct owner is Lee Milts, M-I-L-T-S, Petroleum Incorporated, in care of Getty Realty Corporation, 125 Jericho Turnpike, Suite 103, Jericho, New York, 11753, and so on. Pleasure of the board to approve that administrative change.
I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Abstain.
Oh, sorry.
Seconded.
Sorry.
Too quick, Mike.
Yeah,
Call for the vote.
Yes.
abstain.
Abstain.
Yes.
Yes, let the record show. 3 in the affirmative, 2 abstention. Motion carries.
We have a bike marathon to benefit the Oxford Community Center. The board has received a request from Will Robsky of the Friends of the Oxford Community Center. The Friends are seeking the selectmen's approval of a first annual bike marathon to benefit the community center. They would like to hold this event on Saturday, September 22nd. Police Chief Hassett and Lieutenant Lambert of the Fire Department have reviewed the plans and have no objections. All proceeds from this event will go to the Friends to benefit the community center. Registration and sign-in will begin at 9 a.m., and the event will begin at 10 a.m. It is scheduled to finish by 1 p.m. The planned route will include portions of Route 56, Main Street, and Charlton. They say Charlton Road, I believe it's Charlton Street, but will not require the participants to cross traffic on any major streets. Basically, they're going to run in through Charlton, up Turner Road, come back down, I think 56. There is a map in your packets, I believe. If you have any questions, you can email Mr. Robsky at wrobsky@gmail.com. Pleasure of the board to approve this event.
I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Discussion? Being none, call for the vote.
Yes.
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 And I'll vote yes. 5 in the affirmative, motion carries.
And finally, we have a few announcements. State primary and state election calendar. We've received the notice of voter registration for the state primary and state election from Town Clerk Lori Kelly. The important dates are as follows. Friday, August 17th, 2012, from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. will be the last day and hour to register new voters or change party enrollment for the state primary. Wednesday, October 17th, 2012, from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. is the last day and hour to register new voters or change party enrollment for the state election. And Tuesday, November 6th, 2012, from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. is the state election. One may register to vote, change their name, change their voting address, or change party enrollment at the office of the town clerk during regular business hours, that's 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., Monday through Friday except holidays, or by sending a mail-in registration form to the office of the town clerk, postmarked by the deadline, which is at 325 Main Street, Oxford, Massachusetts, 01540. The October special town meeting, it has voter registration
Point
different.
of order?
Thank you. Just, since we're on the election, is there going to be anything as far as, I know our questions asked about voter showing ID. Is that going to be taking place during any of these elections or not in the town of Oxford? Our voters overwhelmingly said they'd agree with it.
We had it on the ballot for our local election.
It was on the ballot, yes. It was.
I don't know if the initiative passed to put it on the state ballot.
So then
During the
people don't
national
have to bring
election.
IDs with them if they don't want to, or if they
It
don't
hasn't-
carry them normally.
I think we'd
No,
have,
that hasn't taken effect as a
Okay.
state law.
yeah, it's a state law, it wouldn't be. a
Just
local.
checking. I know that our people were looking forward to it. I didn't know what's happening with it, and with this
Right.
is a state election, I figured
No, it
why
would
not?
have to be a state law.
Good time to try it. Thank you, John.
Mr. Manager?
Thank you. On the October special town meeting, which is October, it's early in October, 3rd, I think. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, October 3rd, the first Wednesday. That's important. There's a separate voter registration, not procedure, but deadline for that. The last day and hour to register to vote before the October special town meeting is on Friday, September 21st, and the town clerk's office will also be open from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. on that day. You may register to vote, change your name, change your voting address, we don't care about party affiliation, at the office of the town clerk during regular business hours, 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., or by sending a mail-in voter registration form to the office of the town clerk postmarked by the deadline, which is September 21st, and the town clerk's address is, again, 325 Main Street, Oxford, 01540. Finally, we have, well, not quite finally, this is the penultimate finally. Reminders, Community Volunteer Days, Oxford Community Center and the Oxford Home Depot are sponsoring Community Volunteer Days at the Community Center on Saturday, July 28th and Sunday, July 29th. That's this Saturday and Sunday. Volunteers are needed for paint prepping on Saturday, July 28th, and painting on Sunday, July 29th.
Be there?
Volunteers may sign up at the community center, which is located at 4 Maple Road
South.
or behind 351 Main Street,
Like a Dutch.
or just feel free to show up on either day to help. You must wear painting clothes and a smile. You have to be happy when you do this. All paint and equipment will be supplied by the Oxford Home Depot. For more information, people can call the community center at 508-987-6002. And the only other thing that's off schedule, or off agenda, is that, and quite frankly, it doesn't quite matter here in Oxford, but we've received notice, my wife watches the newspaper and checks for things like, gets an alert if Oxford is mentioned, or Aquarian Water Company, or Harry Hibbard. Well, Harry Hibbard's been in the news because he no longer works for Aquarion. His last day was suddenly last Monday, and they promoted an engineer, which I think is a wonderful idea, to take his place. There's no one saying why he's gone. I guess it's just a corporate shakeup. Those things happen. So we'll see. Now, this is interesting because consider this, Attorney Casey. They've just changed their lawyers. They brought in a bunch of experts from Tennessee. So you have a new law team, and now your principal deposee is no longer there. So how does he defend how do they defend the corporate representative? It's going to be very interesting in court if we ever get there.
It will be. Through the chair, Mr. Chairman, to the manager, is his brother still the chairman of the DPU?
No,
He's outlived his useful
He's
existence,
outlived his
evidently. I
right.
mean,
That's what I
I
thought.
hate to be so cynical.
Now I know Harry's not there.
We know politics doesn't work like that.
Nothing like that. That finishes my report for July 24th. Thank you.
Manager? Okay, the next item on the agenda will be Selectmen's request. Selectman Lamache?
Thank you. I'd like to start out by thanking the 300th committee. On July 8th, we had a phenomenal day as far as I'm concerned. And that day occurred due to the fact of a very small amount of people that have worked very, very hard for a couple of years and are continuing to work hard. And they are in desperate need for more volunteers if we're going to make this year's celebration really work. But I feel, I should say, that those committee members, it's a very small committee member, should be mentioned because I've gone to a couple of those meetings. They have worked very hard, and they deserve tremendous kudos for what they have done. And I'd like to just state their names for the record. Those members are Sarah Bean, Anthony Dupius, Rebecca Gaddis, I'm probably saying these names wrong and I'm sorry, Susan Gustafson, Al Hammond, William Levy, Paula Parker, Gina Riley, Emily Thomas, and our own selectman, Mike Voice. Those are the main members. Those are the people that, for the most part, every week, every month are there. They're the ones that did most of the work. There are associate members and other people, but those are the main people. They're the ones. And we need a lot more members and a lot more volunteers. And I say we because it's a town celebration. So if you can do anything, I'm sure they would love to see you every month or whatever you can do. And
Can I
yes,
piggyback on that?
you sure can.
Well, and I appreciate what you said. You know, Mr. Du Bois, Mr. Vos, the volunteers. But you just said it. It's a town celebration. Those same volunteers who you read off the list go out there and they're hustling constantly trying to earn money for the town celebration. I know that we, during town meetings, have put $10,000, I think, annually into their budget. It's a big ticket item. And, you know, besides volunteers, they need money. And I'm not soliciting to anybody out there in TV land begging them to send Mike and the committee any money.
Send me
But-
any money.
But I am looking for, at town meeting, you know, the support of the town meeting voter and of the financial team of the town of Oxford to set aside some money for this important 300th celebration. We're only going to turn 300 once. And, you know, I would like to see some money. And the way you hit it, it was perfect. When you ended it with it's a town celebration. It is a town function. So, you know, the townspeople need to step up and remember that when we go into town meeting on October 3rd. Thank you, Dennis.
If I may.
Yes, Mr. Vos?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Lash, for those kind words. Yeah, the committee has been fantastic. There's like you mentioned, it's a very small group of people, and I don't think most of us realized how much work it was going to be when we got involved. But it's been great. The group has been fantastic. We have a lot of fun doing it, believe it or not. So I just want to thank all the members and all the people in town. I have to say that everyone in town has been fantastic through the whole planning of this, from the fire department to the police department to you know, KC, the town clerk, everyone. So I just want to thank all those groups of people for their help and their support. Yeah, we do have a big year coming up, and we're going to need all the help we can get. And I just also want to thank Deb LaMarche for all her work in regards to the parade, because, you know, we kicked the parade back and forth a couple of times. We really didn't know whether or not we were going to have it. And, you know, Deb and Tina Weldon really took the bull by the horns, and that parade was absolutely, you know, fantastic. So thank you to Deb and Tina, and to Mr. Sad, John Sad, who was the guest MC, did a fantastic job. So thank you very much, John.
I'd also, before you finish that topic, I'd also like to mention that Selectman LaMarche didn't mention his own name, but I know the amount of work that he's put into this, and thank Mr. Vos for bringing up his wife, Deb LaMarche. She was the parade coordinator, and she really didn't get to see the parade because she was the one that made sure that everybody got off right, and she was the last vehicle at the end of the parade. So, I mean, that takes a lot of work and a lot of dedication to put something like that together and not even be able to see it. You have to wait for Mr. Triano and his group to put it on TV in order to see it. I haven't seen it yet, but from what I understand, it's been recorded. It'll be on the public access channel. And if there's anyone who hasn't attended, didn't attend, they should take the opportunity to see that parade, because I think everybody that participated and people who showed up made it an outstanding day. And obviously, the weather supported us as well. And I think we've learned a lot by our mistakes. You know, nothing goes off without a hitch. And I think it was a great idea that the 300th Anniversary Committee decided to kick it off with a parade and make it a year-long celebration. Now that they had this parade, they know what things didn't go perfectly, things that they can improve upon at the big parade next July 8th. So this was just a dry run for something that's going to be outstanding for the community. And I echo the feelings of my colleagues when they say that everyone should become a part of this. It's well worth it. Ms. Lamache?
Well, thank you. Well, while I'm giving kudos, I really want to give a heads up to the Oxford Little League. They've had 2 tremendous wins. Looking forward to more wins in the future, and I just wish them all of luck. And since you kind of mentioned that, that's my last item is, over a month ago, we met with PEG Cable Access, and I'm curious, are we going to meet with them? What's going on? I know I've been lax. I haven't had a chance to come in and see you, Joe, but quickly,
That's
is
fine.
that
We-
something that-
We've all been busy. We're trying to get, I've have some correspondence with Dan Scotti, the president of Access Oxford. Their lawyer and our lawyer have been talking, and so we have a better, at least through them, there's a better understanding of what the issues are. And they are primarily, what's the relationship of Access Oxford to PEG Broadcasting going forward? We have a new license coming up, so they want to firm up that relationship, and new equipment. Now, neither one of them are terribly urgent because the license doesn't renew for another year. I think it's a year from now. And the equipment is working satisfactory. It's not as nice as I would like to see it, but I don't need to have it replaced tomorrow. And in conversations with various members of the board, I think there's general agreement that we want to make sure that whatever we do is not just a knee-jerk, let's do this, let's get it right, and let's get it right for the long term. So that's my plan, and hopefully that'll work for everybody.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Mr. Chair, just to echo Dennis's sentiments on the Oxford Little League, we had 2 teams win state championships within 2 weeks of each other, which is absolutely fantastic. One is the big league team, and then the junior league team. And I think the big league team is, what are they? They're 15 to 18-year-olds, and the junior leagues are the 12 to 14. Is that correct?
13 and 14.
13 and 14. So that's just a fantastic accomplishment. Congratulations to all those kids, those coaches, those parents, everyone who puts such hard work into that league, because, judging from what our high school team has been doing and in our youth leagues, I mean, Oxford is definitely on the right track as far as baseball goes. We're getting ourselves back to where we were, 10, 20 years ago, when we had, excellent teams. So congratulations to those people up there at the Little League field. Joe, a couple months ago, probably 3 months ago, we had talked about having Mr. Donay do some investigative work and possibly sending out some RFPs to companies as far as getting some of these buildings we have in town converted over to natural gas. And I did speak with him about maybe a month ago, and he had a list, but he hasn't moved forward with it. I just feel as though, especially with winter coming, it's probably too late at this point, but that's something that we really need to move forward with. I spoke with a very large HVAC contractor just to get a feel as to what his thoughts were, and he thought, this is a very qualified individual I'm speaking with. This isn't your mom and pop there. Very large company. He's done a lot of these retrofits, and he feels as though at a minimum we could be looking at a 40% savings in the cost of heating. I think that's something that we really need to continue to work on, especially where we have some underground storage tanks that are probably going to need to be coming out
Right.
within the next few years. So let's kill 2 birds with 1 stone, and hopefully we can be ready. So if you will, just
Push that.
follow up with Mr. Donay. And I had, speaking with a gentleman this morning in the coffee shop, they live over on 109 Charlton Street, and there's a sight distance problem there. That is on the east, moving east on Charlton Street as you come around that corner. And they're having a real difficult time pulling out because there's so many trees and bushes on that.
At 109?
It's just before
Over the
109 Charlton Street. If you're
Is it on the other side, the west side of the river?
no, it's not. If it's on the other side of the river, 109, going east. So right before that, you come around that corner, and I can remember, as a kid being on a school bus there, almost getting rear-ended as we stopped at that location. So definitely, if we could take a look at that, that'd be fantastic. That's all I have. Thank you.
Mr. Lamountain?
Thank you, John. Speaking of Dick Donay, Joe, I was having a debate with an individual who had said that our buildings committee, Dick Donay and crew, are not cost-effective for the town of Oxford. And of course, I said, yes, they are. But, the guy wants, numbers. I can't give him numbers because I don't know, but have we looked as a town at what we were spending on maintenance outsourcing and what we're spending and got a feeling of savings? And I know it's more than savings, because I said we're doing preventative work now rather than replacement work. So there may be some costs, but if you look at the cost of replacement versus maintaining, we're saving money that way. But I didn't know if I could say, listen, they're saving us 200,000, 500,000, 100,000. I didn't know a number to throw. So I'm not asking you right now off the top of your head, because I'm sure, I know what you got to do to look at the numbers and see. But I would like to get an idea as to what the annual savings are since that program has come on. Because I still, after all this time, think it was one of the most worthwhile things we've done is take over the maintenance of our buildings in-house. We own a lot of property. It's good to see that. And second of all, in my conversation with Mr. D today, 2 weeks ago, I called you about that, having Sean check out Route 56 in a crosswalk. Has Sean gotten down there?
Duso. Yeah,
I call him Mr. D.
I know, okay, I figured it out. I thought they just painted a crosswalk. Oh, you're thinking of 56.
The one near the Shell, Route 56. yeah.
56. There were a couple of others, I know
He said that to me today, and
Chairman Casey brought it up. We had one further south.
Methodist Church.
I know one was just painted.
okay, well, there's nothing
All
there,
right, I'll
so.
check on that
you can check
at
with
the
Sean.
Hill.
Right, let me know so
Yeah.
I can tell Mr. D something.
Okay.
That's all I have. Thank you, John.
Ms. Casey?
Thank you. Just want to echo the shout out to the Oxford Little League. I was at the game last night at Spinners Field in Lowell, and the junior team, they put up a football score on Tewksbury. It was 23-10. Unbelievable display of offense by that team, and I just want to say congratulations to all of them, to the coaches, the manager, Mr. Fitzpatrick. I know how hard they work, and they will be going to New Jersey next weekend. I know that they're in the process now of putting together some fundraising ideas. If anybody's interested in the community, the kids have to pay to go there, their parents, and I've been told that they're estimating the trip could cost approximately $10,000, somewhere in that vicinity, for all the kids and their parents. Mostly the kids, of course, but to make it happen for them. So I just want to put that out there. If anybody is interested in donating to the team, I'd encourage them to contact Paul Fitzpatrick, get online and contact somebody at the Oxford Little League, or if you can't find a contact number, you could obviously call our number, and Madam Clerk, you could direct them to the representative on the Oxford Little League. So they're all excited. They're going to New Jersey next week, and we'll see how they do. They were the only undefeated team in the state going into that state championship, so they've got a remarkable team. Wish them the best, and also to the older kids who won the state title. They're not playing, they've finished up, but they certainly had a remarkable year too, 2 state championships. So I hope we can retain some of these kids and see some state title banners up in the Oxford High School gym back in the days of Jim Maliff and crew. I forgot the year. I think it was 1986. Was it 86? Yeah, that we last one, of course, Tim St. Germain. So congratulations to all those kids and the parents. What a ride. And secondly, I'm just going to put this out here by way of information for this evening, because I'd like to ask the chief for a recommendation before I make any formal motions with respect to this. I was approached by a constable in town who asked me a good question that I didn't have the answer to, so I did some research. He asked me, why are constables in Oxford prohibited from carrying a firearm during the service of the documents or in the service of process? And he is a person with a license to carry. Of course, his question was directed in a way that it was put forward. Why is somebody with a license to carry prohibited from carrying when they are exercising their duties as a constable? I said, good question. So I asked the clerk to research that, and if she could maybe supply members with the same documents that you provided to me. There was some correspondence from town council back in the early 90s. There was a letter from the chief of police then, back in the late 80s, early 90s, and it all kind of coagulated together. Selectman Sad, you probably remember this. In all the information that I could see, there seemed to be a whopping assumption made that the boards was based on at the time, and that was that constables don't have any weapons training, and we know today that it's far different today in 2012 than it was in 1989 or 1990, where if you have a license to carry, you've taken a weapons course, weapons safety course, you've had to handle a firearm, and some of our constables are part-time police officers as well. So before I bring it up for discussion in front of the board or a formal motion, I would like to get the number one public safety person, the chief of police opinion on this, and then bring it back up in front of the board for our thoughts. Because it did strike me, if you have the license to carry and you're putting yourself out there as a constable, and if you can walk down the street with it if you're going to buy a cup of coffee, but the town of Oxford said you got to take it off if you're going to go serve somebody a divorce paper that says, you know, your spouse wants to take your house, your kids, and your dog, it would seem to me that those folks go into some pretty dangerous situations at times, and, you know, it's only fair if they have a lawful right to carry any other day of the week at any other time, that we should maybe take a look at that. So if we could, Madam Chair, to the, Madam Clerk, to the, get a request off to the chief. And I spoke to the chief briefly about it, so we won't be completely surprised by the request. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I do have a couple of items. First of all, it's come to my attention that the newly installed lights at Route 12 and Cudworth Road, they are operational. However, there seems to be a change, or there's a malfunction. Because if you are heading south on Route 12 and you want to turn onto Cudworth Road to get onto 395, there used to be a green arrow indicating a left turn across the northbound Route 12 in order to get to Cudworth Road to 395. Well, that arrow is no longer functioning. I don't know if the state decided to shut that arrow off, or it's just not working. Could we have the
We'll
highway
check it.
superintendent follow up with the state to find out what's wrong?
We will.
And I just wanted to make one comment on something that Mr. LaMountain brought up regarding Mr. Donay in our maintenance department. You know, it might be a good idea to have anyone who thinks that that wasn't a good move on behalf of the town by this Board of Selectmen instituting that. Maybe it would be a good idea to have them go down and visit the maintenance department, talk to Mr. Donay. I've had the opportunity to go down there and have him give me the tour of his facility and to give me a general overview of what he does, not only for general government, but for the schools. As you recall, before we instituted that position, the schools pretty much did their own maintenance. We did ours. If something happened at the school, they'd call a contractor and they'd come in and they'd do the repairs. A lot of the repairs that are being done on town equipment right now, a lot of those repairs are being done by Mr. Donay and his staff, who are professionally trained to do these repairs. That's at a lesser cost than it would be if we had to go out to bid, if we had to hire a contractor to go in and give them an hourly rate. This is already included in their salaries. These people have saved us, that department has saved this town thousands and thousands of dollars each year, just on the repair work that they do and the preventative maintenance that they do. I was amazed at my tour of his facility down there. They have all kinds of parts for all the boilers. Like if something has to be replaced on the boiler or a valve or something, it's there. They don't have to go out and contract it out. They've got all the parts on hand, on site. So it's an outstanding department that does a lot to keep this town up to snuff as far as repairs and maintenance is concerned. So boy, I'll tell you, I got my eyes opened when I went down there, and if anybody thinks it's costing us money, go down and sit down and get the tour. And I'm sure that Mr. Donay would be more than happy to fill them in on the savings that has been done in this community through that department. Mr. Lamarche?
Yes, if I may just piggyback on that, I've worked closely with them down there, and I'm amazed at the hours they put in. You can go by his office sometimes at 6:30 at night, and he's still there because he's had a call to one of the buildings or whatever. And he does that. I mean, if we had to call in, I can't believe when I was saving money, because if we had to call in another professional company after hours like that, I mean, the overtime would kill you. So, I mean, and they are so knowledgeable. I mean, it blows me away to talk to them and hear the information they know about and the things they know about and the work they do. So to kind of piggyback onto that, Hank, I mean, we got to be saving big time. We have to be, because, and you're right, I mean, they have all sorts of supplies down there and equipment to do repairs, so they can do repairs right there so that we don't have to send it out, you know? So another company would probably have to send it out, charge for that, and it's got to be a big saving, so.
And there's
good
no
point.
disagreement, Dennis, with your saying that there's savings. I agree. But there's got to be a way to quantify it.
Right.
You know, with
Yeah.
any business, we can all say, oh, we're making money, when in
Mhm.
reality, we're losing our ass. It just feels like we're making money.
Mhm.
Okay? I believe we're saving. In watching this for years, knowing and listening to what you said about the schools. Again, I remember when the schools were doing their own maintenance, we were doing a lot of capital replacements, because that was our side of the parking lot that was paying back then. And we've stopped a lot of that. And I see it, and I know what they're doing for hours, and I remember, Joe, I think it was maybe your first year, or maybe the year before you came on, when Dick Donay was catching up, not Dick, it was Dennis, was catching up with his work orders.
Travis, right.
Dennis Travis, and he was working his butt off getting things brought up to snuff so then he could get it into a rotation for maintenance. I know there's a lot less subcontractors. The thing is just to quantify it. I mean, I don't care if we're saving $10. I know we're saving more than that. I'd like to be able to talk to somebody intelligently and not just say, I know we're saving. Of
Right.
course, okay, how much are we saving? And here's the numbers, there's the proof.
Good point.
And that's what I'm looking for.
Good point.
And if I may, one of the things you have to accept, and you make a good point, because it was Dennis Travis, Dennis Power was town manager at the time, and I remember Ernie Boss was superintendent of schools, and he and I interviewed Dennis Travis, got him started, and he died when we buried him the day of Dennis Power's retirement party, in fact. I remember that. And Dick Donay came in. By having this department in place, we've also avoided maintenance or repair to things that were done inadvertently in trying to fix something that was wrong. Keep in mind, not only did you have the school department and the general government, you had 5 schools. And each custodial staff tried to do their own work, and they'd call in the contractor. And Dick Donay has told me, and he can tell you too, I'll bring him in and he can tell you, that there were times when they had the same contractor working at different buildings at different rates, because different people had called him in. We did simple things like bidding out the elevator maintenance. I have an elevator in the town hall, I have an elevator in the middle school, I have an elevator in the high school. I have an elevator in the police station, I have an elevator in the library. I have a chairlift in the Barton School and in the Chafee School. They all need maintenance. Instead of having 5 or 6 different vendors doing it, we hire one vendor, and they do them all every month, and they do them on a rotation, so it's more efficient. We did the same thing with our generators. Instead of the school department hiring somebody to maintain their generator and the sewer department hiring someone to, that you can picture the story. We have one person come in or one firm come in, they do them all, we save a ton of money. It's just the same way we save money. We save money by maintaining and servicing our vehicles. We have a top-notch fleet maintenance group at the highway barn. Other towns envy us because there is so much work that we do ourselves in-house, but it's quiet, and nobody Nobody knows, we just go on. So I can't tell you that I'm saving $1,000, I'm spending $1,000 less than I did last year, but I'm certainly spending a whole bunch less than I did 10 years ago. And I'm maintaining that lower level of spending by keeping them on board. But we'll try to quantify it.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda will be an executive session. Under Section 3 of the Open Meeting Law, we'll be going in to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares that we are going into executive session. I will call for a roll call vote, and please note that after the executive session, we will only reconvene for the purpose of adjourning. Roll call vote,
Yes.
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 and I'll make it unanimous. We are in executive session. We thank you all for coming in this evening.
Can I get that list of people?